Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're looking at the Vor'cha class battle cruiser. Coming from our Decipher book here, so its mission profile here. After 2367, the year that it was launched, the Vor'cha class serves as the backbone of the 24th century Klingons defense forces, replacing the aging fleet of the Katang class battle cruisers. They are typically employed as the flagship in fleets maintaining the great houses of the empire. These ships served a variety of purposes as foremost tools of Klingon intergalactic policy and transporting dignitaries to establishing footholds in star systems. They have also, on rare occasions, taken part in scientific expeditions, yet its primary, though unstated purpose, is to continue demonstrating Klingon military superiority. Now, this is really just the upgraded, more modern view of what the old D7 and then the Katang classes really were. And the interesting thing is, we see these from Star Trek: The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. Voyager did a little bit of it as well. There's a lot of things that a lot of the ships and all that were done in an old school kind of way. They were actually done by using models first, and then later on, when the technology got better, then they would CGI things in. Uh, so this is another one of those. They built the model as an updated version. That's why the D7 and the Katang were essentially the same model, just as an upgrade. And we will kind of see that here shortly, because we're going to get into I believe it's the Cavort, the Katang, and then of course the Bird of Prey. And we'll do all three of those together because it's the same. Really, it's the same model that they use. They just put it at different scales. So, looking at this one though, for today, um, this is a big capital class, really kind of trying to match with what the Federation is throwing out. Um, we are now at 481 meters long. The ship's mass is 2,238,000 metric tons. It is a size 7 starship. So, again, like I said, it's trying to bring the Klingons into something that can start matching like the Galaxy class and the like. So, we do have an autopilot of 3D. So, if worse comes to worse, the ship can pilot itself at a 3D rating. Remember, your standard galactic personnel in the D6 system is going to be a 2D. So this is, one extra die better than your average Joe. Um, or if you want to put it in a Klingon perspective, maybe then your average Claw. Uh, we have a crew of 1,900. It can run on a skeleton crew of 190, but again, they're going to have a plus 10 to their roll, so it is significantly more difficult to try and do this. Consumables, we have enough for 2 years. We have a warp drive capability of a standard is going to be a 6. Our average cruise is going to be at 8, and we can maintain a 9.6 for 12 hours. Now, doing mine the way I do usually, because if I want to bring it into my Star Wars universe, I do have a 8x for a backup and a 1x for a primary. I like throwing that in there because, me being me. Again, if you want to run this as just straight Star Trek, just kick that out and, just say I'm just silly. Not a problem because I am kind of silly. All right, we do have a nav computer, has a maneuverability 1D plus 1. So not the worst, but not the best. It's kind of on par with a lot of the other ships that D6 Holocron has really done for the Star Trek line. And I will try to remember with this when we ever get to the point that I'm throwing things out here myself. All right, we do have a space of 7.5. We have a hull of 5D plus 1. So this is a pretty resilient hull. and a shields of 2D plus 1. So the shields themselves are just a little bit above where we want to call our standard. Um, Sensors, we can do a passive scan out to 4 kilometers with a bonus of 1D plus 1. We have a search out to 12 kilometers, so they have a good range here at a bonus of 2D. Or our scan is 12 kilometers. Our search is 15 kilometers. I'm sorry, I'm getting this mixed up here this morning. Our search is a 2D plus 2. Our focus is 500 meters at a 3D plus 1. Now, while cloaked, they add a plus 2D plus 2 for difficulty to detect a ship. I do like how Star Trek has kind of done, how we've been doing this. D6 Holocron has put it in here this way. We just did a cloaked vessel in Star Wars from their book. I like how this system works a little bit better. I will admit that, not a problem. Mainly because it doesn't mean you're completely invisible all the time. Somebody that has some knowledge and can work things out can possibly detect you. And always having that as a possibility, in my mind, is always a good mechanic in there. All right, so weapons. We do have a Type 8 disruptor cannon, has a 360-degree forward arc. It's capital scale. Fire control is 2D. Damage is 5D plus 2. It has a fire rate of 5, so we're able to shoot off 5 times in one round. We have 17 Type 10 disruptor arrays, and it's pretty much all over. Let's see, we have a fire rate of 3 on this, doing 4D damage with a fire control of 2D. It does have 3 photon torpedo launchers, 2 in a forward, 1 in the aft, and has a fire control of 2D. We have 200 Type 2 photon torpedoes total on board ship, and we have a fire spread of 10. So each torpedo tube can fire a spread of 10 torpedoes per round at 4D damage. Now, if they were able to upgrade that to quantum torpedoes, that would be a little bit more kind of scary. The other thing is even being 4D for damage, the fact that you can shoot out 10 of them per launcher, and we have 3 different launchers, so potentially you could have 30 torpedoes coming out at you at any time. So that is a very scary thought. We do have 1 Delta class tractor beam in the aft for towing. Fire control is 2D. Strength is 4D plus 2. We have 1 Alpha class tractor beam for our shuttle bay. Fire control is 1D plus 1, and the strength is 3D. Crew quarters. So for barracks housing, we have enough for 1,800 crew members. We have 100 Spartan quarters, 100 basic quarters, 70 expanded, 3 luxury, and 1 unusual. So if you have the captain and he just wants it unusual and he wants to be very, I don't know, flamboyant on how he lives or whatever, he's got that available. All right, we have 22 decks on this ship. We do have 160 escape pods. Each escape pod can carry 8 personnel. This was commissioned, according to this, is 2360, although I thought it said 2367 with what I was reading before. So thereabouts. Transporters, we have 4 transporter platforms with 6 pads each. We have 3 emergency transporters, which can move 20 personnel per transport. We do have 4 cargo transporters, which can carry 400 kilograms per transporter. Shuttle complement, we do have enough room for 8 shuttlecraft and 4 shuttle pods. We also have 40 probes on board, so that does give it a little bit of a science ability. And it was noted that, yes, it does do a little bit of science work, although Klingons don't do a a lot of the sciencey stuff, but it's not that they were against it. It's just they would rather spend more time trying to discover better weapons and everything else. And sometimes I think they kind of forget that by doing a little bit of science here and there, they can get better technology in the long run. Um, but it is what it is. It's an interesting ship. It is a break from what the old traditional ships were. Being able to see something different on screen instead of the old rehashed models is always a breath of fresh air. Seems like later on we were going against the Romulans, and we kept seeing different Romulan ships being thrown out time and time again. Um, and then they kind of got stuck in a rut there for the Klingons for quite a while. Although in Deep Space Nine, we started seeing more varying views of um, Klingon ship lines. So going from there, it is what it is. Wonderful ship, really. It's nice to see new designs being brought out. I've always loved having a variety of ships and being able to see new ships being brought out later on for the Klingons was always nice. With that, thanks for stopping by and visiting. It's always wonderful to have you stop by. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next